Oh, Seven Citizens Black here from Casa Black Gaming, and so with the new huge update to Star Citizen 4.0 comes a new moment in the game where we finally have multiple systems, and as the patches leading up to 4.0 came into existence, many new changes to overall gameplay also happened, making pretty much all guides before this useless. Well, I aim to change that with a handful of various topics, which I will post in one large video guide, and then also break up into smaller chunk size guides by topic. But no matter how you find these guides, they will all be quick, to the point, with useful timestamps below and in their own playlist on my YouTube channel. These guides will be aimed at either new players or players who might have taken a break and are fresh to Pyro and all the game has to offer, so no matter your skill level, you should get something out of these guides. So let's stop the chattering and get to the info. So for missions and reputation, we have a lot to cover, so I will be breaking these up into their own videos by mission type. I will probably combine them into their own overall missions guide at the very end, but for now these will be broken up, so look for these within the 4.0 playlist. Also, missions are called contracts in Star Citizen, so I will try to label them as such going forward, but mistakes will be made. Now, a simple explanation of the system is that there is a system for obtaining contracts that are offered in your mobiGlas by pressing F1. And then down at the bottom you select contracts, and also at the bottom there is the rep option, which when selected on a fresh account will probably have nothing to show. Reputation is earned as you complete contracts, and as certain levels of reputation are earned, you also move up through various levels within that reputation, which will unlock better paying or more difficult contracts to do. Basically, play it, you'll earn more, you'll get better stuff. Now, the offered contracts will vary depending on where you're located, so certain star systems will offer up their own types of contracts, while others might not. And even within the systems, there are certain planets that may offer up specific contracts with specific reputation vendors that others might not. For this set of contract guides, I will be focusing on the Stanton system contracts and will focus on Pyro related contracts in a later standalone Pyro guide. Now that we know what contracts and reputations are, let's go ahead and dig into a specific contract type. So within Stanton, my bounty hunting guide will begin around the Crusader planet. Now this is the planet that I like to do bounty hunting in, and since bounty hunting is one of the first contracts listed, it's a good place to start. So first off, if you're not seeing any contracts or very few, make sure you have flown to a main planet and just orbit there in space. Usually within 30 seconds or so of reaching a planet, the contracts will begin to populate. As you see, I have 5 bounties, but those pro-tem suspect apprehension ones that are paying out around 151,000 are bounties for real players and not a PvE bounty contract. Now, if you're gung-ho, then be my guest, but we're here for that tracker training permit certification where we have to pay 500 credits to take it. Now, you will get paid for completing it, so don't see it as a loss of credits. Just consider it a test bounty to see if we have what it takes to join the Bounty Hunting Rep Association, and I promise that we do. Okay, so we take the contract, and it's going to show up in the Accepted tab at the top. The details are listed in the text of the contract, such as the level of difficulty, which this one is a very low risk target or VRLT. It tells you what size the ship they're going to be flying in and how many possible escorts they have with them, if any, and the name of said criminal and where we need to head to, which this one is a wreck site on Daymar. Now, your first mission you accept gets automatically tracked, but you can untrack it and then track another one from the bottom right here, so keep that in mind for later. There is also a bonus mission that you should always take if you're out doing bounties or mercenary contracts, and that one is under the mercenary heading, usually, unless it's not showing up, and you would accept a call to arms. Now, having this mission active but not tracked, make sure you untrack it while doing bounties, is going to give you some extra credits for each one of your kills, so just be sure to have it turned on. Now, we then open up our map. These training permits can sometimes be far away from where you are, and you would need to expand out your star map to find it, or you can just click on the contract in the upper right corner, so long as you're tracking it. Sometimes clicking that will give you the option to route straight to the target, and sometimes not, as was the case with me here. Regardless, I just zoomed it a little bit and clicked on Daymar and set my route to the planet first, and I jumped there. After arriving, I moved the nose of my ship to the yellow contract location and was able to jump straight to it. Well, I was actually able to do it after moving my nose away for a second and then re-spooling the drive up. This happens quite a bit, so keep that in mind when a jump doesn't want to go, or try jumping someplace closer to get around the line of sight of the planet, and then you should be able to jump to your target. These are just basic issues that happen with the map. Anyway, you should finally get within 30 kilometers of your target, and you're now ready to make your approach. So you fly in, you're still going to be in your nav quantum mode until you get within about 15 kilometers. Then you want to switch to your combat mode because you will need your shields and the ability to fire your weapons. You're going to do so by pressing and holding B until you see it change up in the upper left hand corner. Now arrive at the location and your target should start turning red. If they're white, do not fire on them as that can cause a crime stat. Now depending on your ship weapons, you will not be able to fire until you're within range. So usually it's around 2 kilometers that you'll be able to start firing with your normal guns, but you can fire on targets further out with your missiles if your ship has those. For now, you can push T just to target the enemy that you want to fire on, and use your left mouse button to actually fire on them. If your ship has missiles, you can switch between your guns in missile mode by pressing down the middle mouse button. You can also line up more than one missile by pressing G up to 4 times, so you can shoot up to 4 missiles at once. Once you're within 2 kilometers, you're going to want to switch back to your guns again by pressing that middle mouse button until your guns show back up. For my first bounty, some of my flight stick buttons have been changed by default, so I had to make do with what I could, but I did destroy the target in the end. Now after destroying the target, you can go in for a further look if you want. Sometimes the ship you destroyed has loot, or you can loot the corpses for gear, etc. Now I like to check those that I kill in space because those ships can be disabled instead of just flat out being destroyed by hitting the ground. There are some ships that will have some very nice cargo that you can take and sell, usually illegal drugs if that's your thing, and those can sell for quite a lot. As you move up higher within reputation, the cargo becomes much better, and that's usually where you're going to see the better cargo. Anyway, now that you've completed your first bounty hunting mission, you will have more that you can take in your contract list. Now I got this new mission here that pays 24k, and so you just keep doing these missions out in space or on the planets to fill up your reputation. Now I'll cover the reputation in a moment after we complete a mercenary mission. For the most part, most bounty hunting mission types are going to be up in space or in flight. Some of them can actually be on the ground where you're going to have to go in and kill a target. So when you fly out to it, you'll be able to tell the difference and just do the proper mission from there. We will talk about FPS contracts with the mercenary part, so that will kind of help you with any of those bounty hunting missions that are on foot. Alright, so now let's talk mercenary contracts. You will of course want to have the proper armor on, going with at least medium if not heavy gear from head to toe, along with a backpack. Make sure you have a backpack. The size of backpack you can wear depends on your chest armor type, so if you're wearing a heavy chest, the backpack can be the heaviest to the lightest. But if you go with a medium chest piece, the backpack would have to be a medium or light, etc. And of course if you have a light, you can only use a light. Now in my inventory video, I discussed what you should always have with you in your backpack, and so make sure you always have some sort of tractor beam. These missions require a gun of some kind, and I went with a P4 AR, which can be bought at many shops on the stations. Your better guns like top tier sniper rifles and even better quality drops are possible now, but will require you to move up in reputation or heading out to Pyro's contested zones, but more on those in another video. So with yourself all geared up for combat, the next thing you will want to pay attention to is your ship of choice to use. Now I will show you in a second what to look for when accepting a mission, so you know if there are any special considerations that you need to make when heading to these missions, but your ship of choice can make things a lot easier. I prefer something in the medium range like a Cutlass Black, Crusader Spirit, or the Zeus, but the choice is really yours. You can do these in your starter small ship if you like, but you might be limited on some things. Let's now take our first mercenary contract. Now you're going to press F1, go to the contracts menu at the bottom, then look for mercenary missions under the drop down. Always take a call to arms, but also untrack it. The reason for this is because this is a little bonus mission that's going to offer you money each time you kill something, but you don't want to track it. Okay, so far the only available mission for me to start with besides a call to arms is this one that's called Security Work Assessment. It's offered up by Crusader Security, which will have its own reputation that we can work on. The mission will tell you the location. This one is a security outpost on Daymar. Now the important part here is it says they already have security personnel on site. Now this lets you know that the security outpost is in the good guys' hands. This is important because we sometimes get missions that are in the enemy's hands, and those bunkers will have have turrets on top that will shoot you down when you're within like 3 kilometers or less. You can of course use line of sight behind hills as you're flying in to avoid being shot at, but you will not be able to just land right next to the bunker as you can when the good security forces own it. If you have a medium ship and take a bunker that is in hostile hands, you can either shoot the turrets from far away, or you can land more than 3k out and drive up, since those turrets do not shoot ground vehicles, at least not yet. This contract is safe to fly, so let's set our course and fly there. Now when I reach the bunker, you can see armed hostiles that are outside the bunker. If you see NPCs outside bunkers, these are sometimes hostile but can also be security, so you'll need to proceed with caution. If you shoot security guards as the mission states, you will receive a crime stat, you'll fail the mission, and you'll have to go to prison to remove that crime stat, or you could possibly hack it, but that will be another subject. We're going to land a little bit out of range so they cannot shoot you as you exit your ship, and then we're going to make our way using cover. Now as you kill enemies, feel free to swap for better weapons once the coast is clear. You can also begin tractor beaming the corpses over near your ship if you plan on looting anything later. Some people will loot every single body and some don't. The choice is yours, but remember you can sell the armor and things that you find on them, so it may be a good way for you to earn some money, especially early on. Now once inside, you're going to head over to the elevator and then go down. Now depending on your mission, you will have so many enemies to engage, and it'll show you the percentage at the top right corner. Once you fire on one of them, the rest are going to know your presence and may all start to converge on you, especially if the server performance is in a good place, which lately it has been more so than not for me. Now after the mission is complete, a timer for trespassing will show up at the top of the screen, giving you plenty of time to search for loot boxes in the bunker where you can take anything that you find. You can tractor more bodies to the elevator and take them up with you, or just their weapons, etc., whatever you want. You can even bring a cargo box down inside with you and loot everything that way, and then just tractor beam the cargo box back on the elevator and up to your ship. You've got a lot of options if you're a loot goblin. At the very least, you should be grabbing extra guns and ammo and med pens if these are items that you prefer. I found a better P4 with a scope, so I took that and the ammo for that gun that I could find. The really good loot's usually going to come from red boxes that you find within these, but they can be hit or miss. Anyway, once you're done and have looted whatever you want, you can then fly off, and we're now ready to open up our reputation screen to see how things look. So you press F1, then down at the bottom you press the rep button. Now on the left I have 4 different rep vendors. There is a Bounty Hunters Guild, which is a Stanton-wide covering all the planets. Then there is a Crusader Industries reputation at the bottom. This covers just contracts in the Crusader area and covers both bounty hunting and security, which is the mercenary contract that I did at the bunker just now. Moving up through these 2 different reputation levels from trainee to associate or junior security contractor, etc., is going to open up better pay and different types of missions and new locations as well. So keep those missions to level those up. You are going to have a lot of repetitive bunkers at first, but you are going to open up a much bigger facility that you can go to later. I think it's around the 3rd tier of the mercenary rep. Also, a quick note with the bounty hunting reputation. When you complete bounty contracts all over Stanton, you get rep for both the Bounty Hunting Guild and then the system that you do the contracts in at the same time. Each of the planets has their own contracts and security in each that can look different, so you need to be sure not to go in guns blazing when you go to a new location. For example, the security where I was just at in Crusader, they wear blue, but over in ArcCorp they wear red. So just be on the lookout for that. And also, one final tip I would recommend just to avert any issues with losing the ability to see contracts come up is to never abandon a contract. Even if it bugs out or messes up, sometimes when abandoning a contract, it can cause you to go backward in rep, which can be particularly troublesome if you just hit a new rep level. This is a bug that's not always present, but just in case, I never abandon a contract. If nothing will pop, then just go to a station and just relog, or try going to a different planet and maybe seeing if something will pop there. Usually just logging out and coming back will resolve the issue. Now, if you still have no contract showing up, you can see if someone in chat will group up and share a contract with you that they have, and that should get you back into seeing them once you complete one. Other than that, just enjoy the grind as you move up through the ranks in bounty hunting and mercenary contracts. All right, so that's going to do it for this contracts guide. Now be sure to check out my other contract guides on hauling and salvaging if those are something that you're going to be interested in doing. They will each have their own videos since they're kind of involved to be together. Also, if you have any other questions about how to play the game, my overall 4.0 guides, which you can find in the playlist at the end of the video, has you covered. So be sure to check out those. And of course, if you found anything about this video helpful and you like the style of my videos, then please consider giving me a like and subscribe, as that really helps this small channel grow. And also, you can join us over on Discord, where me and others answer questions and provide a nice homey feeling where you can feel comfortable asking questions or sharing your adventures and screenshots with us. We'd love to have you. Anyway, I've been Black, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you out there in the verse. Take care.